Hey Seth, are you ready to summit this thing?
Yeah, it's not Everest, but I'll do my best Edmund Hillary impression.
Wait, does that make me Tenzing Norgay?
Yeah, you're my Sherpa, man.
Okay, I'm not carrying your shit though.
No, I got some furniture I need to bring up.
Hey guys, Max here, and you're watching Hot Ones. So that was my friend Seth, who you just met, and Seth recently made his big purchase of the year, which is a Rolex Explorer 214270, the new one. And we thought, what better way to break in his new watch than to take it up into the mountains, especially given this watch's history. So we decided to hike up to some alpine lakes in the Leavenworth, Washington area. It was beautiful, of course, but on the way up, I decided to pick his brain a little bit. You know, Seth is one of these guys that buys a new watch maybe once a year, showing a lot more restraint than myself and probably a lot of you watching. And so I asked him, you've been so thoughtful about this decision, why did you choose the Explorer? And the point that he came back to over and over again was just how versatile this watch is. And that got me thinking, what are the bread and butter iconic pieces in the Rolex lineup that's accessible to regular people, of course? It really came down to three watches for me. You have the Datejust, the Explorer, and the Submariner. Now, it's no surprise that these three watches really span the entire spectrum between dressy and sporty. You can almost imagine putting on a Datejust for work on Monday, and then when Friday rolls around, switching over to the Sub. But if you don't have that kind of money, or you just want a watch that covers all your bases, I think the enigma of the Explorer is just how it's able to have a foot on both ends of that spectrum. Seth has a bigger wrist than me, so he went with the 39 instead of the 36mm Explorer. Let's take a look at his new baby. The Explorer 214270 Mark II was introduced in 2016 as the most modern and sporty interpretation of a legendary watch. It combines some of the most recognizable elements from Rolex's illustrious history. On the backdrop of a matte black dial, we find iconic marks such as the 369 numerals in white gold with a bold triangular marker at 12. There is such a pleasing balance and symmetry to this dial. Fit and finish is as you'd expect from a master in craftsmanship. Details like the inscription on the rehaut set this apart as a modern Rolex. The Mercedes hour hand and the Submariner style second hand lend elements of heritage and visual interest to the center of this otherwise simple background. You almost can't take it all in at once. The complex interplay that happens amongst all these parts change as the hands are put through their paces in a day, making it quite the feast for the eyes. When it comes to the dimensions of the watch, it has a case diameter of 39mm, a svelte 11mm in thickness, a convenient lug width of 20, and a long-ish lug-to-lug distance of 47mm. Under the hood, we get the latest evolution of the Rolex 3000 series with the COSC certified caliber 3132, now featuring an anti-magnetic parachrome hairspring. This proven movement beats at 4 Hz and has a 48-hour power reserve. Rolex's new chromalite is generously applied and glows a soft blue rather than the usual green of superluminova, and is claimed to last twice as long. I just want to take a pause and say that I really appreciate you guys for joining me, and also just for being awesome people all around. From the beginning, I've always said that I'm no watch expert, just a guy who appreciates the history, culture, and artistry behind these little trinkets that we wear on our wrists. And on this channel, we've had a great journey so far, and we have so much to look forward to. So if you haven't already done so, I encourage you to scroll down and hit the subscribe button below. It'll just take 1 second, it'll help us out, and you'll get a notification next time one of these videos drop. Okay, so every great watch has a history that precedes it, and the Rolex Explorer certainly is no exception. This story takes place on Mount Everest, 5.5 vertical miles of rock, snow, and nature's elements thrusted into the thin air as tectonic plates collided at the edge of Tibet and Nepal. Named after Sir George Everest, a British surveyor in the 1850s, Everest was deemed the tallest peak in the world, and man began to dream of summiting it one day. However, after World War II, the northern route was closed by China. Climbers were forced to a southern approach, where the mountain is hemmed in by numerous other peaks in Nepal. It was eventually determined that a route was possible up the Kumdu Icefall, a massive glacial flow with ice boulders the size of farmhouses. The race was on to summit the mountain from the southern side. In 1952, a Swiss team came within 800 feet of the peak, but had to turn around due to equipment issues. The British, who always thought that this was their mountain to conquer, knew that their window was closing. So in 1953, they mobilized a large team to the foot of Everest. Edmund Hillary, a New Zealander recruited to be on the team, was partnered with Tenzing Norgay, the head Sherpa and an experienced alpinist himself. An attempt at the summit by team members had failed in previous days, and so in the early hours of May 29, 1953, Hillary and Tenzing set off on their fateful journey. Despite bad weather, the two expert mountaineers overcame numerous unforeseen challenges, finally reaching the roof of the world just before noon that day. Hans Wilsdorf, the ever-clever marketeer, had placed on the wrist of Tenzing Norgay the Bubbleback Oyster Precision reference 6098, now forever crowned as the first watch on top of Everest. Back in the real world, the next evolution of the Explorer was the reference 6150, which still did not actually say Explorer on its dial. That honor was given to the highly collectible reference 6350, which also featured a distinct honeycomb dial. In 1955, we have the reference 6610, which incorporated a newer 1030 movement, allowing it to be thinner than before. In 1963, we got what collectors today think of as the iconic vintage Explorer, the reference 1016, which received a bracelet with solid links and added hacking via the new caliber 1570. A special edition 1016 called the Space Dweller was endowed on the Japanese market for a brief period of time. Finally, in 1989, the 5-digit reference 14270 established the modern Explorer aesthetic. Still at 36mm, it now sported a sapphire crystal and white gold applied markers, and the updated caliber 3000. Its design was so perfect that in 2001, Rolex didn't bother updating the look when they went to the 6-digit reference 114270, but simply added solid inlinks and updated the movement to the 3130. In 2010, we got one of the more controversial references, the 214270 Mark I. For some reason, the 369 markers had lost their lume, and though the watch had grown to a modern 39mm, it still used the hands from its smaller predecessor, leading some to call it the T-Rex. And that leads us to the Mark II version of the 214-270 Explorer. Introduced in 2016, it addresses both aforementioned issues noted in the Mark I. On the wrist, we can appreciate that the watch looks at home both in formal and casual environments. The side profile shows the gorgeous classic oyster case shape. The polished bezel is noticeably thicker than in the 36mm Explorers and has a bit of a hard edge when you run your finger over it. The brushing on the bracelet is gorgeously smooth and the milled buckle feels secure, although it is lacking in the way of much micro adjustments. This is not a dainty watch by any means. It wears large for a 39 and due to its thinness, has a bit of a dinner plate-like feeling on the wrist. Due to the lack of anti-reflective coating, the watch can be hard to see in certain harsh lighting conditions. But ultimately, when we stop focusing on the details and look at the entire package, the modern Explorer stands on the shoulders of giants and is a serious contender for a one-watch collection. So that's a look at the Rolex Explorer 214-270 Mark II. And after spending a week with it, I guess the question is, what's my impression? Let me preface that answer by saying that I do think it's a technical achievement by Rolex. But do I connect with it emotionally? The answer would have to be no. I feel like it trades too much of the elegance of the 5-digit Explorer for boldness. I really wanted to like this watch, and here's to hoping that in the future Rolex brings out a mid-size Explorer, somewhere around 37-38mm. I do think that it wears better on Seth's wrist. Speaking of Seth, let's thank him by visiting his Instagram and showing him some love there. So I'll end it there. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't. I'm working on something really exciting on the channel. It's a little bit of a secret right now, but I'll let you guys know probably in the next video. So thanks for watching, Hope Ones. Until next time, take care.